Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Battleverse, where we dive deep into the biggest developments in global military power and technology. Today, we're going to explore one of the most unexpected and fascinating shifts happening right now on the world stage, the rise of Ukraine as a military powerhouse, and how it's on track to potentially surpass Russia in certain capabilities. This is not an exaggeration or a headline grab, the evidence is mounting across every dimension: weapon systems, battlefield performance, logistics, safety, innovation, and international influence. Ukraine is rewriting the playbook for how a smaller nation can rapidly transform its armed forces under extreme pressure, and the story is as much about resilience as it is about technology. By the end of this video, you might see Ukraine in a completely different light, not just as a country defending itself, but as a military trendsetter for the 21st century. On the surface, or what we might call the exterior of this transformation, Ukraine's military presence has undergone a dramatic visual and structural evolution in just a few years. If you looked at Ukraine's forces in 2014, they were largely a legacy Soviet military: outdated tanks, limited drone capabilities, inconsistent camouflage, and minimal integration with Western systems. Fast forward to now, and the frontline forces look like a modern NATO army. Sleek Western armored vehicles, advanced camouflage patterns designed for both rural and urban warfare, cutting-edge night vision gear, and troops equipped with high-quality plate carriers, thermal optics, and digital targeting systems. This visible transformation is not just for show. It's a statement to both allies and adversaries that Ukraine is no longer a military underdog, it's a professional, highly trained force capable of standing alongside the best-equipped militaries in the world. Externally, the hardware speaks volumes. Ukraine's adoption of systems like the US-supplied HIMARS rocket artillery has given it the ability to strike with incredible precision at ranges Russia never anticipated. German Leopard 2 tanks and British Challenger 2 tanks have boosted its armored punch, while armored infantry vehicles like the US Bradley and the Swedish CV-90 have added mobility and protection to frontline troops. The integration of advanced drones, from the Turkish Bayraktar TB2 to domestically produced strike UAVs, has allowed Ukraine to carry out precision attacks far behind enemy lines. And perhaps most impressively, Ukraine has developed and deployed unmanned sea drones, small, fast, explosive-laden vessels capable of damaging much larger Russian warships. This kind of naval innovation has effectively extended Ukraine's reach far into the Black Sea, reshaping naval warfare tactics in the region. Inside the system, the interior, is where the transformation becomes even more remarkable. The Ukrainian military has embraced NATO-style command structures, moving away from rigid Soviet hierarchies to a more flexible, fast-response decision-making process. Communications are encrypted, data is shared in real time, and battlefield awareness has never been sharper thanks to satellite imagery, drone reconnaissance, and AI-assisted targeting software. This allows commanders to adapt strategies on the fly, responding to threats and opportunities in minutes rather than hours or days. The logistics backbone has also improved dramatically, ensuring that troops on the front lines receive ammunition, fuel, and medical supplies at the pace modern combat demands. In short, the interior is no longer a creaky post-Soviet system, it's a streamlined, Western-compatible war machine. Performance on the battlefield is where Ukraine's evolution has truly stunned observers. Despite facing a larger and heavily armed adversary, Ukraine has repeatedly turned the tide in battles many thought it could not win. The defense of Kiev in the early stages of the 2022 invasion, the lightning counteroffensives in Kharkiv and Kherson, and the precision strikes on key Russian supply depots and command centers have demonstrated not just bravery, but high-level tactical execution. Ukrainian forces have learned to exploit Russia's weaknesses, targeting ammunition depots, disrupting command and control, and cutting off supply lines rather than engaging in wasteful head-on clashes. Their ability to blend conventional military tactics with modern hybrid warfare, including cyber attacks, electronic warfare, and information operations, has set them apart from traditional armies. Performance also means mastering new technologies faster than expected. Ukraine's military can integrate new weapons systems in record time. Where some countries might take years to train and deploy with new gear, Ukrainian troops have mastered complex systems like NASAMS air defenses or advanced artillery in weeks. This agility means that every new delivery of Western hardware doesn't just boost firepower, it immediately changes the dynamics of the battlefield. When it comes to safety features, Ukraine has placed a heavy emphasis on protecting both its soldiers and civilians. For soldiers, widespread use of modern ballistic armor, lightweight helmets, and trauma kits has dramatically improved survival rates. Training in NATO medical protocols ensures that wounded soldiers receive effective care within the critical golden hour. On the civilian side, Ukraine has deployed nationwide air raid alert systems, upgraded bomb shelters, and installed early warning radars to detect incoming missile or drone strikes. Air defense coverage, while not perfect, has become increasingly effective thanks to systems like Patriot, IRIS-T, and Leopard anti-aircraft guns, which have been used to intercept incoming threats and reduce casualties. The unique selling points of Ukraine's military rise can be summed up in 3 words: adaptability, innovation, and national unity. Adaptability has been on full display in the way Ukraine adjusts tactics in response to Russian strategies. When Russia leaned heavily on artillery, Ukraine focused on counter-battery fire and drone spotting. When Russia increased drone strikes, Ukraine developed new jamming and interception methods. Innovation has come in the form of DIY military tech engineers converting civilian drones into bomb-dropping platforms, software developers creating targeting apps for smartphones, and shipbuilders crafting unmanned vessels from scratch. And national unity is perhaps the most unique factor. This is not just a fight waged by the professional military. From volunteer medics to cyber defense teams, the entire society has been mobilized in one way or another, creating a level of resilience that is hard to measure but impossible to ignore. Now, the price of this transformation is enormous. Ukraine has received tens of billions of dollars in military aid from the US, the EU, and other allies, including not just weapons but also training, intelligence, and logistical support. However, Ukraine itself has poured a huge portion of its GDP into defense spending, prioritizing survival over every other sector. The human cost is also staggering. Thousands of soldiers and civilians have been lost, and entire cities have been devastated. Economically, the war has drained resources, but in exchange, Ukraine has gained a military capability that was unimaginable a decade ago. It's an investment made under the harshest possible conditions, but one that has produced results that the world can see clearly. What makes the situation even more compelling is the possibility that Ukraine could surpass Russia in certain aspects of military power. Russia still maintains a larger nuclear arsenal and more overall troops, but Ukraine's forces are becoming more modern, better trained, and more adaptable. Russia's military, in contrast, is struggling with outdated tactics, poor logistics, and low morale in some units. As Western technology continues to flow into Ukraine, and as Ukraine develops its own domestic arms production capacity, the gap in quality could outweigh Russia's advantage in quantity. In the realm of drones, for example, Ukraine is already ahead in terms of operational creativity and deployment. In long-range precision strikes, Ukraine is closing the gap rapidly. In terms of allied integration, Russia is isolated, while Ukraine is tied into NATO's communication, training, and intelligence networks. The strategic implications of this shift are massive. If Ukraine emerges from this conflict with a fully modernized, NATO-interoperable military, it could become the strongest non-NATO military force in Europe or potentially a NATO member itself, which would instantly shift the regional balance of power. For Russia, this would mean facing a neighbor with not just determination, but the technology, training, and alliances to deter future aggression. For Europe, it would mean a new pillar of defense in the East, reducing the pressure on other NATO members. And for the global arms industry, Ukraine's experience is already serving as a live testing ground for new tactics and technologies that will influence warfare worldwide. In conclusion, Ukraine's transformation into a military superpower is a story of necessity driving innovation, of external support being combined with internal determination, and of a nation refusing to be broken. The exterior, the visible strength of its hardware and troops, sends a clear message of capability. The interior, the systems, training, and integration, ensures that capability is organized and effective. Performance on the battlefield proves that these changes are not just cosmetic, but deeply functional. Safety features protect lives and maintain morale. Unique selling points like adaptability and public involvement give Ukraine a strategic edge. The price has been high, but the returns in terms of military strength are undeniable. As this trajectory continues, the possibility that Ukraine could surpass Russia in several military domains is becoming more than just speculation, it's becoming a realistic projection. The world is watching, and history is being written in real time. Whether you see Ukraine's rise as a strategic necessity, a geopolitical shift, or a symbol of resilience, one thing is certain: this is a transformation that will be studied by military